Look, I just need to say it. Like, I'm an anxious person, Georgia.
Oh?
I'm a... Yeah, I mean, I think the question is, like, how to be successful while feeling super anxious all the time. Mm-hmm. How to deal with the anxiety that is 2019.
Yeah, but I do find it really interesting when I try to have a vulnerable moment with someone and I say, like, oh, but you don't understand, I'm really shy.
And people are like, no.
Yeah.
No, people declaratively say
no, right.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
I will decide you are not.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the hardest thing about running a nonprofit is that, like, part of our job is to portray this, like, level of success. But that also means that I meet people every day that are like, oh my God, like, you run Frailty, and it's like, yeah, that's mainly just, like, me at home by myself crying, texting Georgia, like, can we change the world? Why don't people get that? You know what I mean? Like, people only see, like, I don't do a Facebook post every time I don't get a grant.
Right.
You know, like, you only see the success. It's like, I was just reading this thing recently where, I forget who it was, it might have been Issa Rae was talking about, like, how there's this emphasis of, like, black girl magic instead of, like, black girl work.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah.
Of, like, oh, like, we just make things happen. And it's like, no, I didn't just make anything happen. I worked my ass off. And I cried and I was sad and I failed a bunch. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Instead of it just being this, like, magic, mythical thing that just, like, happens. I don't know.
Right, and I think that there's, like, an interesting amount of assumptions that goes along with, like, I feel really comfortable talking to 100 people and terrified at the prospect of talking one-on-one sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, or what it looks like, yeah, how that anxiety manifests and what it means to be a good facilitator, but what it means to, like, have all this self-doubt around what it looks like to be able to have a conversation one-on-one or be engaging enough or funny enough or...
What do you say in your head? Because I always think, like, I'm never going to see these people again. I don't even know who's in the crowd, so I can't be anxious of people I don't know. But if I talk to you one-on-one, like, I know details of your face.
That's interesting. I don't...
like, that's why groups don't scare me, because I'm like, I don't know any of you. I'm never going to see you again. Who cares?
Yeah, I think it's just, like, I don't know, I guess I go back to, like, when I used to do theater, and it's just, like, it's, like, a single... like, the group itself is a single entity that doesn't... that feels kind of more than human, that it's like a human energy that I'm interacting with rather than, like, an individual who is going to judge me or that I will be exposed for like all the things that I'm not good at, or I don't know.
But I think that what you're, like, the reason why I was like, oh, this is really interesting to me is because it's like, I feel like that's so hard because so much of like the way in which we're taught to present ourselves in the world is like, if you're successful, that means that you aren't, like, anxious or nervous or, like, scared about stuff. Mm-hmm. Right? So, like, feeling any of those emotions inevitably means that, like, you're not doing something right to be feeling, like, anxiety about them. And, like, I think it's, like, the nature of the way, like, even, like, the tools of our communication now, like, social media and stuff like that, like, the only things that I can put up, like, Instagram, Frailty's Instagram account only shows pretty things because, like, that's what that platform is designed to do, is to, like, show pretty things. And Facebook, I only post when, like, we're talking about things that we've done really well, like, things that we're doing well, because that's what that is designed to do. And, like, I'm only on Twitter complaining about things because, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no platform that's designed for me to, like, show my flaws and be like, here's the things that I've been worried about. Here's, like, here's all the things that I tried to do and failed at.
Right.
You know.
Well, and I think it's interesting to think about, like, how there's also not space for, like, the practice of, or the discovery of, or the curiosity into different ideas, and, like, what we were just talking about as far as what does it mean to feel like I don't have something valuable to contribute, or I'm not the person who should be writing or speaking or talking because I haven't figured anything out. Like, I Impossible, if having something figured out is the only time you would be valuable. If you're an expert, you should only dance if you really know how to do it, or you only sing if you're good enough of a singer based on someone else's standards. And rather than saying, like, oh, this is me learning, or this is me chewing on an idea, or this is me trying something on, and having there be a platform for that where we can actually really engage with that. And I think the fear that I feel sometimes, or where it feels like it's not welcome, is that it will get shut down because it hasn't arrived at some imaginary place that doesn't even exist. And so we're not giving each other the grace of this, like, how do I play?
Yeah,
and how do I try on ideas, and how do I navigate the different places in my life that I'm moving through as I age, as I love, as I fail?
Two things. I feel like trying on ideas is such a wonderful like concept to like think on, like trying on ideas. Also love this hand gesture for trying on things, like trying on ideas. The audacity for you to be like, oh, I was theatrical, in case you didn't know. Like, I'm like, she's literally doing jazz hands telling people that she's theatrical. They won't ever be able to tell that you used to do theater at all. They won't. No one will know. Anyway, yeah, I think it's like really interesting of like what you're allowed to show as like, even it's so meta, because like I feel like our workshops are like telling people like, yo, you can make mistakes and like it's okay, and like this platform doesn't show a lot of our mistakes, you know, like the things that we show online don't show a lot of our mistakes. I meet people all the time that are like, oh my god, how incredible, and it's like, yo, I was questioning whether or not I should do this like 7 minutes ago. Like, you know, and like thanks for the compliment because it's keeping me pushing, but like, you know what I mean? Like it's just so interesting. The power of like the power of perfection, and like how that's like such a it's such a free, it freezes, you know, like I feel like you feel so I feel frozen in these moments of like, you know, there's like this expectation that you'll just get it right the first time, and even though we know that's wrong, it's so crazy how you can like, even we say that out loud in our workshops and I still struggle with it, where I'm like, yo, I write things all the time where I'm just like, oh, I'm not gonna put that up because like,
right,
you know, we're making this video now, like who wants to watch this, right? Like that's the question that we'll ask ourselves as we like edit this, like what will I put together, like who wants to watch this, what do people want to see, you know, like what do I want to see, right? But then that helps us then to like reclassify anxiety, right? Like what if anxiety is not a bad thing,
right?
You know, like what if, like I used to have a coach, you know, like when I was a kid playing soccer, I had this coach who used to tell me that like being nervous before a game was a good thing because it meant that you like cared about what you were about to do.
That's beautiful.
You know, letting it.
Yeah, but even the idea of wrong. I mean, I think like in the workshops we tell people like if you identify with the feminine and you do a thing, then it's fun. Then it's feminine because you did it.
Yeah.
And I wonder if it's like what it means to say, I'm trying this thing in my wholeness, and so it kind of can't be wrong.
Yeah, because transformation happens through, like growth and transformation happen through adversity. You know, it's like learning, like there's plants that like in the forest that gotta like they have to burn, they light up, they combust, and they burn forest down. And I remember learning about that and being like, yo, what the fudge, Pudge? Like, why would a plant just like light itself on fire? And it's like, yo, because that's how different forests rejuvenate themselves and like regrow and like spread. And like sometimes you need to like, you know, sometimes you need to get out of your shell to get a new shell, you know?
Right.
What if we're just large hermit crabs?
That'd be amazing.
But the anxiety, you know, to like extend the metaphor, and like the anxiety that we feel is just moving from one shell to the other, you know? What if anxiety is like, what if anxiety is like a good thing?
Yeah, and there's a meditation teacher I like a lot who often talks about how we can be grateful for pain because it shows us the places we need to heal. And so there's kind of like a reconfiguring of pain, but also you're thinking of like renewal and rebirth and like the pain of being born or coming out of your shell or changing shells. Like all of that is painful.
That's what this is about. Do you think of yourself, are you like an anxious person? Do you think of yourself as like an anxious person?
I feel very strongly at different moments that I am a very anxious person and also that I'm a very calm person. So it feels like it really is contextual for me in moments where and I have more recently in some of the healing work that I've been doing been kind of pulling apart these different behavioral qualities that I feel internally into different 4. And my
You
outer,
picked 4, okay.
and my outer child, who like is maybe 9, and like is old enough to have an ego, but not old enough to know that like other people matter, and is kind of acting out quite a lot. And the younger one is just kind of pure emotional. Anyway, so they both have opinions, and then there's like my critical parent.
Yeah.
And so in the moments that I feel especially anxious, it's that voice, that critical kind of voice, that is perpetuating those narratives of anxiety. And then there's like the nurturing parent, and when that is the kind of dominant voice, it's like I feel very grounded and very calm and very able to kind of navigate space and moments. And then sometimes it's like when I check in, I feel like I have to go to a boardroom to check in and be like, okay, what's like, how are we all feeling today? And it's a newer thing for me to try to pull apart where the feelings and behaviors are rooted in. And so yeah, so now I'm just having, if I look distracted, it's because I'm at a board meeting.
You're at a board meeting in your mind.
Yeah, I think there's a movie about that. John Malkovich.
I think it's civil. Anything but that's another. Fine, all right. Then tips with dealing with anxiety. Easy.
Okay.
1, don't deal with it. Embrace it. You're nervous. The world's ending. That seems like a reasonable thing to feel.
That's true.
Boom. 2, have a board meeting in your mind. That feels like. Wait, is that a tip?
I think that's it. I think to separate to try to pull apart where the voices of anxiety are rooted.
I think speaking it out loud, like that's been really powerful for me, of like the anxiety I felt in my body when I like spoke out loud and talked about it, to discover that other people were experiencing it too, and that I wasn't alone in that. So like talking about it to other people.
I think the biggest tip for me is probably breath. Like that we are always only one deep breath in from a little more calmness.
Oh, okay, then last one for me.
Is that 5? 5's a good number.
Yeah, 5's a good number. Embrace your inner hermit crab. So in moments of anxiety, like I always try to remember that, like, oh, how great, like I'm in some transformative moments right now. Like
maybe you're just changing your shell.
Yeah, I'm changing my shell, and like that's gonna be a little uncomfortable, but I'm gonna look fly when this is all done, you know?
Like a fresh iridescent one.
Look, shiny, some neon goodness. Let's bring neon back, yo.
Yeah.
All right, so awesome tips for dealing with anxiety. Board meeting in your mind, embracing it, and
talking about it,
putting on a new shell.
Breath and breathing. Breathe.
Did it. Frailty signing off. Check. Beep.